mankind hesitated to eradicate the creatures that stand in the path of his conquest. If we find ritual extirpation of undesirable motives of another world, the rest must be destroyed. Is it possible that our dark past watch them and pray?
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, government agent, kids of Camp Crystal Lake, and anybody who might be listening. This is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. Still in October, we're trying to ramp up the spooky as we go. I am your host, Tasker, and we have over here Nick.
My name is Nick, and I am possessed.
Oh, yeah, are you sure it's not just you making a voice?
Nope, not just me making a voice. I am possessed.
Or you just chewed on a lemon and realized we were recording last minute?
Actually, I smoked about a carton of Parliaments for 20 years a day, and then that's what my voice sounded like. Cancer, guys, is no joke. All right, the big C, that's something I wanted to talk to you about today. Smoking is not good for you. Yeah, sure, it makes you look fucking sick. And yeah, sure, it feels really good with that nicotine just pulsing through your veins. But guess what? You might get cancer from it. Debatable, but you might get it. You know what I mean?
Wow. That was. Are we being sponsored now that I didn't know about by Parliament?
Yeah. I thought I'd just tell you on air that now technically I signed a contract for you. You have to start smoking a pack of Parliaments a day with me.
Yep, so that way we can all act like we're possessed and scare everybody by the time Halloween. If you start now, you could shred your vocal cords just enough to be perfect for that costume you've been working on.
Yeah, this is what I've been working on. And I smoked too much cigarettes.
Actually, my grandma who passed away a couple years ago on my dad's side, she was like a chain smoker for like her entire life, and she always did have that really kind of deeper voice, you know.
I too had a grandmother.
What happened to her?
Oh, she's still alive.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, happy ending. And sometimes we need those.
Oh, shit, guys. We're in October still, right? We're chugging along through the creepy season. I hope you all been watching your horror movies. I understand horror movies aren't for everybody year round. Mm-hmm. That's fine.
What?
But watch it during October, for God's sake.
Even I watched the first Friday the 13th last night. And you know what? Despite what you may know about me, I do enjoy early 80s like slasher films. They are very fun. They're very campy, very fun. You have your significant other with you and they get all freaked out if possible, or it's just a rip-roaring fun time to drink to.
Yes, and I'm proud of him for that because that is also my favorite era. That is also my favorite genre. I love slashers. I love seeing people get their guts ripped out, but that's just like, that's something I could talk about with my therapist. Why don't we just move on to our horror scopes for October?
Yeah. Oh, let's do it. I'm just going to take the reins because I have it open and I feel like talking right now. Let's see. Scorpio. You have two choices today. Either jump into the thick of the mess with both feet or stay out of it altogether. There are definitely two distinct camps setting up their arsenals for battle. Realize that there is also a soft, tender, harmonious aspect that just wants peace. It will be hard to ignore the fact that your usual warring nature is ready to do battle.
Oh my God, what are you, the last samurai? What the fuck was that?
I wish. Well, we do have an election coming up, probably one of the biggest elections in American history, because a lot of shit's in the balance, and we did have discussions of whether or not this may or may not cause the second Civil War. So, is this maybe the battle that's coming up? Or I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, honestly, yeah, I think that Civil War is coming sooner rather than later, man. So you got a choice to make. Are you gonna whose side do you want? Are you gonna choose the side that has more money, like I'm gonna do?
Or the Trump side, you mean? Yeah, nice way to dress it up, you fucking politician.
Hey, I'm not a politician. I'm a mercenary.
Yeah,
I go where the money goes.
Nah, man. I just. Regardless, I'm going to end up in Valhalla anyways, which is great for me because I know there's no real battling that will be coming up in my future. But in this case, it's kind of guaranteed. So I'm going to be doing the anti-Trump side, man. I got no respect for the man.
I mean, neither do I, man, but I got respect for that checkbook, you know?
Yeah. That's fair and reasonable. And really quick, here's today's star ratings. Sex is a 3 out of 5, rolling a good average. My hustle is 3 out of 5. My vibe is 4 out of 5.
What?
And yeah,
What?
I am vibing good today. Like I said, I watched my horror film. I got my quota. I made it through. I slept like a baby. I feel my vibe's good. I'm feeling up. But my success is a 2. So
Yikes.
I am glad I finished my my animation gig. So that is not something I need to worry about today.
Good for you, man. Good for you.
Yep. And the next one's right on its heels. It's like I'm a working man now.
Dude, good for you. Look at you making money and shit.
Feels good. It feels good to be able to make my car payments.
Yes. Another PSA. Make sure you pay your goddamn bills, people. All right? Pay your bills.
Maybe Corona, but that's no excuse. They will evict you. They will repossess your shit. Like it's the IRS stuff's for no one.
They don't care about us during this pandemic, so you shouldn't care. You shouldn't give a shit about them. Work your ass off. Make money any way you can. I don't care if you're giving blowbos behind 7-Eleven. You get money and you pay your bills, all right?
Keep your shit. And weird transition, but I also noticed that in today's matches, my love match is best compatible with Cancer.
Look, we've talked about this off air many times, Tasker. I'm not interested. I appreciate the offer, but let's keep it strictly physical. All right.
Look, okay. You can run or you can't hide, man. I know you moved away to try to put distance between us, but you can't stop love.
Oh man. No, man. Just keep sending me pics, man. I don't have time for love.
Fine. If you say so. All right. What do you got in your horoscope?
All right, you pervert. Let's see what I got. Peace and harmony are in the regularly scheduled program for the day, but there's a good chance that there could be a warning force with strong opinions and vindictive tendencies. Hold on to your hat, Cancer, and make sure you have your actions well aligned with your soul, or else you could be thrown into a battle that has nothing to do with you.
So hole up and stay safe.
Apparently, I guess, I don't know. Is it saying that I'm going to be involved in some kind of drama that I have nothing to do with?
It could be. Maybe it's avoidable. They're saying if you're not careful, you might end up in a conflict that you don't want to be a part of. So, I don't know. Take the day off, I guess.
Yep. It looks like I'm not doing anything the rest of the day. That sounds pretty awful.
Hey, man, our horoscopes are usually, I would say they have like about a 60% chance of like being totally accurate.
And a 40% chance of meatballs.
I see what you did there. Okay.
yeah, dude, I'm hungry. All right. All right, let me go through my stars real quick because I feel like this is pretty good today. All right. My sex is 4 out of 5 stars right now. Dude, I am bussing down there apparently.
Good.
My hustle is 2 out of 5. Yikes. Not very good. But I don't have work today, so who gives a shit?
You're too busy shooting rope.
Yeah. My vibe is 3 out of 5. Average, fine vibe, I guess. Nothing spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
But my success is 4 out of 5.
Ooh. Wow. So it sounds like we got a good balance going on here. I got the vibe and you got the success.
Yeah. Hey, let's just put them together, man, and we'll be fine.
Fuck yeah. That's how every major company got started, I think. Oh, no, it was standing on the back and drinking the blood of its workers.
Hell yeah, and that's how we'll continue to do it.
Damn fucking right. Can't wait to start our cult.
Yes. All right, well, we got the horoscopes done. Things are looking dreary, but it's going to get even worse. So, hello, welcome back to another spooky October episode of Close Encounters. And today, we will be going over something that freaks Tasker out, by the way, and I know this about him because one of the few things he does believe in is demons. And one of the few things that he believes in, if it's real, that's scary, right, Tasker? Would you say it's scary?
I was raised Catholic. You know, I come from my family. I was raised by my mom, who's Hispanic, fully Mexican. So obviously I was raised Catholic. And yeah, that shit, I grew up with it. I grew up with the fact of, don't fuck with spirits. Like we have an affinity. Like my blood has an affinity for them. There's a bigger connection with them. And if you're not careful, you're gonna find yourself in some serious shit. And to me, this is just that whole camp of something that is like, and I mean, I know it seems almost kind of backwards that this is the thing that I like am kind of like more sketchy about. But I've heard too many stories from my family and too many stories from like friends who have had like demon-y experiences, and the fact of like you can be like possessed or you can be haunted by these kinds of things. And also the idea of being possessed as a kid was one of the most terrifying things I ever heard of.
Well, you heard it here first, people. This is going to be something that Tasker believes in and is afraid of. One of my favorite subjects, because of that fact that he's going to be a big old puss today. We're talking about exorcisms.
Oh yes, I'm going to tell you at the bat, I will be trying to science my way out of this one, but I will have you know that it is purely just to let me sleep at night, because
it is a defense mechanism.
It is 100% a defense mechanism. This shit is fucking scary. This shit is really scary because, like I said, even like ghost haunting and stuff, that's kind of where I like kind of draw my line a bit, where I'm like, well, I don't know. Like, I feel like this could happen. And that's why, there's so many stories, more so than probably any other paranormal thing that happens on the planet Earth.
There's a lot of documented cases. Exorcisms are a real thing that takes place throughout the world, more so now than it did 50, 100 years ago. And we'll get into that. We'll get into a little bit of the history. But you know what? And I do want to point out to some people as well that this is a topic that freaks me out a little bit too, like, because I know that it's real. I understand, like, whether demons are a religious being or whether they are something from a different plane, which is what I believe. Either way, they're real. Yeah. Either way, there's something there. And either way, they can take possession of a person, a place, or a thing. And that's no bueno. So it does freak me out a little bit too. I'm not just going to pick on Tasker the whole time. I'm right there with him. So we will be going over many things today. All right. We are going to be going over what an exorcism is, how one is conducted, in different exorcism cases throughout history, and little tidbits here and there. All right. So what I need you all to do, I need you to grab your Bibles. I need you to grab your crosses. And for those who are non-religious, I need you to start practicing. I don't know, get your salt, put a salt perimeter around your house and start practicing your astral projection. Because we're going to dive right into this topic. We're diving in hard. All right.
Yeah. And I got to point out too, I think another thing that makes it so scary is how universal it is, because this is one of those things where it doesn't matter what religious belief you have. Demons and possessions, for the most part, are there in every single one. So there's no escaping. You can't just convert to Judaism and then you're totally fine. Like, no, in fact, it might even be worse.
Every religion, every person, whether they're theistic or atheistic, they can be possessed by demons. Demons don't give a shit. They're not going to like. They don't discriminate. They're not going to be like, oh, well, he's, atheistic, so clearly he wouldn't believe that we're attacking him. No, they're going to be like, easy. That's an easy target right there.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a feeling they go for, and like, just to cover my ass a little bit, I didn't mean that like Judaism, like demons are worse because they're Jewish. I mean,
Jews are already demons. So
no, they're not. They're not. But demons, I think, kind of go for people who have a crisis of faith. And who knows? Demons in other religions could be worse than the ones that you're currently in, or for all, because I mean, I don't know shit about any of this. I mean, obviously, I don't read the outline, but
yeah.
Also, too,
yeah, because if you read the outline, you would have cut something out that's going on in a little bit. But you'll just have to hear it when you hear it.
I might have to, but also too, converting religions might actually be the worst thing you can do, because I have a feeling demons go for you when you have a crisis of faith, and when you're in that transitional period, you're vulnerable. And same with when you're young and you're impressionable, you are vulnerable. So if you're a kid, I'm speaking as a kid who was terrified of this, just skip this episode.
Hey, no, don't you dare skip this episode. You need to know the truth about what's going on. All right, we are being attacked from demons from another realm. If you skip this episode,
and he's coming for you,
you're going to be defenseless. All right, and also, why are you listening to this if you're a kid? That doesn't make any sense. You know how much rude shit I say? I just said that Jews were demons, and you're sticking around to listen to this. This better not end up in like one of your summer papers for school. All right,
it's a give your mom her phone back. She's wondering where it is.
Yes, she's getting news from your new stepdad.
Oh, fantastic start.
All right. Well, let's get into this and let's begin by talking about what an exorcism is. I'm sure a lot of you out there know, but let's get a definition out there, okay? An exorcism is the religious or spiritual practice of evicting demons or other spiritual entities from a person or an area that is believed to be possessed by a demon.
Does it have to be a demon, or can it really be anything? Like you could get possessed by like, what's the word? It's malevolence, the evil one, right?
Yes.
So isn't there? What's the good version of that word?
Benevolent.
Benevolent. Yeah. So you could get possessed by a benevolent spirit.
I mean, technically you could, but they wouldn't do that because it causes harm to the victim.
Oh, okay.
So it's really only you see malevolent spirits doing actual possessions. Like a place could be possessed by a good, like a benevolent spirit, right? Like a house or something, which is like you just feel like a presence, but it's not like a threatening presence.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to human possession, pretty strictly just demons or malevolent spirits.
I see. So that's warning number one. If there's any sort of possession, assume it's evil.
Exactly. That's always assume it's evil. Always.
Good. That's actually really smart. I did not know that.
It's spooky. All right. And yes, you did hear that correctly. Exorcisms can be performed on places, so not just people. So if there is a malevolent spirit in let's say your house, you can have an exorcism performed on your house. It doesn't have to be a person that's being exorcised. But for the sake of this episode, we will be focusing on human possession and exorcism.
Sounds good. Sounds very good. And it's good to know too. Like, I feel like there's a lot of horror movies too where they had people like, they bring in like fucking, what's that one that everyone loved back when we were in high school? Paranormal Activity?
Yes.
Oh no, I'm thinking of the wrong one. I'm thinking of the one with where Darth Maul's the villain.
Oh, Insidious.
Yeah. Where
that dude did look like Darth Maul. That's when all immersion broke me, and I was like, God, really?
All you hear is da da da.
Just see Obi-Wan in the corner. Yeah, it was awful.
Took a really weird turn at the end.
Now, for the most part, exorcisms are performed by Catholics and usually clergymen in the Catholic Church. All right. However, there have been Protestants who are known to perform exorcisms. So I would say those are the two main denominations of Christianity who perform exorcisms, right? The Catholics and the Protestants, but of course the Catholics are the most popular. Those are the ones that conduct the most. So a lot of this episode will be focusing on Catholicism and the exorcisms that they perform.
Yeah, so it's not to say that they have like, a higher track record. They're just the more flashy and notable stories of exorcism.
Exactly. And they have training too. Like they actually have, and we'll get into this in a little bit, just slightly, but there's training at the Vatican on how to perform exorcisms for certain clergymen in the church throughout the world. It's crazy.
What do you think like fake religions like Scientology and like Jehovah's Witnesses do to kind of like to do exorcisms?
Scientology, they probably just beat you up. They probably just like strap you to a chair and start.
They just kill you.
Yeah. They'll just kill you. Also, look, Scientologists, if you're listening to this, why don't you go fuck yourself first off? Try and find where I live. I dare you, dude. I will come down so hard on you guys. I will find Tom Cruise and I will play his ribs like fucking xylophone, dude. All right. So why don't you fuck off?
That was a beautiful threat, actually. I'm going to give you points on that.
Thank you. What was the other one you asked, though? Jehovah's Witness. I don't know. They probably just go door to door and ask you if you've heard of their exorcism.
Oh, you have to pay like $400 for the program.
Oh, dude, I used to know a couple of those dudes. They're weirdos, man.
Yeah. Well, I was reading a thing about a slight deviation here, but I heard one of the big things because Jehovah's Witness, they're kind of like Mormonism, right? Where you have to try to bring in converts and shit like that.
Pretty much. That's what they do door to door.
Yeah, and shame people outside of their church and stuff. And somebody made a post one time and they were just like, hey, like I'm a blank and I keep on trying to convert people and to save their souls because I truly believe this is the right thing to do. Why is it that everyone just seems to hate me about it? And the person's like, well, actually, it's meant to be awkward and annoying on purpose. Because when they send you off in the world to spread the good word, the correct word, and then everybody rejects you, like you feel a feeling of defeat and sadness and dejection. So that way you go back to the church where everyone's very nice and welcoming and safe. And they build up that community by purposefully giving you basically a fool's errand. They want you to have a bad experience and having a bad experience is it ties you to their church even better. So they could siphon your wallets and take all your money.
And they don't let you celebrate Halloween. So you can also tell them to go fuck off.
You don't even get to celebrate your birthday. Like, that should be your first red flag.
Big red flag. All right. So if somebody comes to your door saying, have you heard of Jehovah, or whoever the hell that is, be like, yeah. And he sounds like a D-bag. All right.
Yeah, exactly. So, but that's I'm glad we're going over this. We need to make sure that we're, because exorcisms. So just in short, Scientology would probably just, the minute you got possessed, they just like, all right, silver bullet to the head.
Yep.
And in Jehovah's Witnesses, you have to pay $400 for an exorcism that doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly. There we go. So now you guys know it's beautiful. Okay, well we have the groundwork of what an exorcism is. Now I want to go over a bit of history on exorcisms. All right, we're going to go through some background. So exorcisms, as we know them today, can have their origins traced back to the early Catholic Church. And the first actual official guidelines on exorcisms were created by the Catholic Church in 1614.
I'm sorry, I just picture it like one of those like shitty like 80s, 90s like instructional videos you get when you like start working at Wendy's and stuff. It's like, so you want to learn how to deal with an exorcism?
All right, well, guess what? You've joined the team and you don't know what to do when Satan involves another human. Well, just stay tuned. Your supervisor will be in to let you out shortly. But until then, let's go over the ground rules of exorcisms.
You got the person in like the button-up khaki pants. They're like shrugging. There's this kid like his head's spinning and he's just like vomiting all over the place in the background.
What a mess. Let's see if we can clean this up.
Dude, okay, Catholic Church, if you haven't done that yet, like, come on, get it together. Like,
come on.
What a wonderful way to reach out to people who want to exorcise demons.
Exactly. Reach out to the millennials, you know?
They'll love it.
So, in these earlier times, exorcisms could not only be performed by priests, but the lay folk of the church as well. And lay meaning they were non-clergy members. And because it was believed that every Christian had the power to drive off demons from possessing someone or something, even without the consent of the Catholic Church, which becomes big.
But dude, power to the people, man.
More power to the people. I've said this about 3 times on this podcast so far, dude. The Catholic Church just gets their fucking claws on everything, and they think they own the whole world, dude.
Well, for a time, they literally did.
They did, and it was a dark time, all right?
Mm-hmm. That was like the one of the few times when historically it was a lot better to be a Native American.
Yes, one of the few times. And now, even nowadays, it's, dude, I drove through a reservation to get to where I live now.
Uh-huh.
Man, that is just one of the most depressing things I've ever seen, dude. It looks like there's just Steel Reserve cans everywhere and fucking like shaggy like dogs that look really dirty running around all over the place. And there's like a casino like right next to them. And man,
I say let them have their casinos because it does not make everything right, not even close. But that's a whole discussion though that will probably get us in trouble.
I'm not afraid of that discussion. I say that we should just let them off the reservations. Like, we've kept them there long enough, and I think that like, it's wrong. Like, why are we keeping them? Why is the U.S. government keeping Native Americans in this little tiny area where they can just get drunk and get in trouble and stuff? They should be out hunting buffalo and making like moccasins and like making paste out of corn. And
well, that's exactly why they're there, is because they can't do any of that because we'll fucking arrest them for doing it. Like, that's kind of the problem.
Yeah,
I think I don't know what's going on right now in terms of Native American politics. I'm not the right person to ask.
Look, I'm kind of an expert because I drove through a reservation. All right. I know what the people are going through. I understand their plight. I know what it's like to have red skin.
Oh, no, you don't. That's called a sunburn. That's what you experience, not a cultural appropriation for hundreds of centuries.
All right. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. Man, I don't know what they're doing over there with their goddamn feathers. All right, let's move on.
Oh, my God.
So, throughout the Middle Ages, exorcisms were a fairly common practice, but they were also an underground practice conducted by either maverick priests or people outside of the clergy.
Wait, are you telling me there's priests that went rogue?
Fuck yeah, there are rogue priests.
That's fucking so cool. That's badass,
metal, dude.
That's
So
badass.
sick. Dude, they're like, the church isn't going to let me fight him the way I want to fight him. Time to go underground.
Time to take matters into my own hands. I would watch that movie.
Fucking sick. In fact, these rogue exorcisms being conducted all over the place without the consent of the Catholic Church is what caused the church to create the exorcism guidelines of 1614 in the first place. So the Catholic Church started seeing all of these exorcisms being done by people they didn't give consent to. And they're like, no. You got to do it our way or you can't do it at all. And then they created these guidelines.
That's
That's
interesting.
very Catholic-y of them. That's a very Catholic thing to do.
That's pretty typical.
But these maverick exorcists use a specific exorcism formula a lot of the time during their exorcisms, and this formula can be traced back to a Benedictine manuscript from 1415. And Tasker, I need you to go ahead and hold on to your balls because I'm speaking Latin again, all right?
I fucking hate you so much.
That's why you got to read the outlines. I can throw Latin in literally anytime I want, and you can't stop me because it's too late now. It's too late.
Yeah, well, you're lucky this is an exorcism rites. We're not like looking in the fucking book of the goddamn dead. So this is okay because like it's like that meme where it has like the dog and it has the Dorime, blah 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 Dorime.
Yes, so I want you to I'm going to speak Latin, but remember guys, this is a good thing that I'm about to say. Okay, this is not me summoning something like it was in our Satan series. This is me actually banishing something or attempting to. So
in a weird way, this might actually be the most like pure episode we might have yet because of this.
Yeah, and I hate it. It makes my skin crawl, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Maybe actually this might break the curse of Satan Part 3 because that episode's like fucked up. Like there's like so much weird shit that happens with that episode. So maybe this will break the curse.
I'm hoping this might be the equalizer. Let's see.
I'm sure there's a lot more that goes into it, but we'll see what happens.
So the following is the formula for medieval exorcism. Crux sacra sit mihi lux, non draco sit mihi dux, veda retro satana, nunquam suere mihi vana, sunt mala que libas ipse venina bibas. And that means, in English, may the Holy Cross be in my light. May the dragon never be my guide. Be gone, Satan. Never tempt me with your vanities. What you offer me is evil. Drink the poison yourself, bitch.
I feel better already.
Good.
Yeah, see, unlike the feeling of literal black dread the last one gave me, this one I'm like, oh, I feel pretty good after this.
I don't want to correct you or anything, but it's actually African American dread. Thank you.
Okay. You shut your fucking mouth.
Oh boy. That was rude. All right.
I hope you're proud of yourself. Right after we just purged ourselves of evil, we got to bring it all the way back, huh?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I just see jokes and I say them without filter.
Yeah. But I gotta say, I'm feeling pretty good. I think our vibe is up. I think I feel like this episode's a lot cleaner.
The room feels lighter right now.
Yeah, no, that's good shit, and that's some cool words too.
Right? I think I was all right. I didn't even practice, I just kind of went for it. So
yeah, I mean, it worked for me, and yeah, there was nothing scary in there. So yeah, good job.
Thank you. So as time went on from the Middle Ages, exorcisms were performed less and less as religious priority began to shift from the whole demons are everywhere and you better repent like right the fuck now to more love thy neighbor and kill people who don't believe in the Christian God, right? To that kind of vibe. So religious priority began shifting, okay? And around the 1960s, exorcisms were hardly performed at all. Hardly. Like, so from the Middle Ages to the 1960s, they were on an ever decreasing slope. But In the 1973, a film came out that would shake the foundation of the religious America and other parts of the world. And you see, we as a people in America during the 1970s were still very religion oriented. Okay, we were still an apple pie eating, one wife having, God fearing, wife beating country. All right.
True. Very true.
Go to church every Sunday, wear your Sunday best. We were still that kind of nation. Okay.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, The Exorcist came out in 1973. And we literally weren't ready for that shit mentally or spiritually as a people.
I heard stories because my parents grew up in that era when The Exorcist came out, and because I remember the first thing I ever heard of The Exorcist was when I was a kid, because my dad would tell me stories about like, oh yeah, they were like pulling people out of the theater in like stretchers because people were like passing out, people were like getting sick, like people were like throwing up, like it is no exaggeration when Nick says that America was not ready for that.
Everybody lost their collective shit. All right. It was awesome.
That's so great. And that's the power of filmmaking.
Especially in the 70s, because the practical effects were incredible for the early 70s. And what this movie did, well, the thing is, it had been so long since we were like a fear the demons kind of a people, right? But the movie was so well done, and it put the fear right back into us as a society. And after that film came out, Exorcism saw a massive rise again because people were worried about what their loved ones were doing. Maybe they were mistaking mental illness for demon possession, something that we're going to get into later.
Right.
Or something else, another interesting theory to think about is because of this wavering fear of demons and their questioning of religion, like Tasker said at the top of the episode, that is primo real estate for demons. Primo. So maybe people were actually becoming possessed, and that might have led to some of the rise in exorcisms during the 1970s.
Yeah, there's a big fat vulnerability. It's like one of the best defenses on demons is to not be afraid and to not be like, give them an opening. But when everyone's actively terrified of them, like that's, one could argue, yeah, that doesn't make a big ass opening. And fun fact, did you know that The Exorcist Part 2 is widely considered to be one of the worst films to have ever been made?
I actually have heard that before, and I agree.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I heard it was just a like corporate shit show of trying to like capitalize on the success of the first one, and like none of like the original
I think you had it.
Cast? Yeah, is it cast?
Yeah,
cast, because they did have the main actress back, but like the director was different, the entire like production crew was different, and yeah, so everything, and because the original director's like, no, we don't need to make a fucking sequel, like there's no point.
That's like Friday the 13th. So Sean Cunningham was the director for the first one, and then they, of course, Paramount was like, yo, we got to start popping these bad boys out. And he's like, nah, like Jason's dead. Like we'd established in the movie that Jason drowned. It would make no sense if he came back to life. So both Sean Cunningham and Tom Savini were like, fuck that. So they're not even the director or the special effects person for the rest of the series. So it's the same thing with The Exorcist. They're like, there doesn't need to be a sequel. We finished the story. It's like, it's over.
Yeah, but the problem was Friday the 13th actually went on to be one of the most successful and iconic franchises of all time.
True.
And Exorcist Part 2, like I said, when I say it's considered to be one of the worst films ever made, I mean like film historians, critics, and filmmakers in the industry all agree it is one of the worst pieces of shit insults to filmmaking to have ever been made. So yeah, I kind of want to watch it one day.
Honestly, Uncle Nick says watch it to make fun of it. That's what I would say. It's worth the watch just to make fun of it.
Yeah, apparently in test theaters when they first released it, people were laughing in the theaters and stuff. And it was like when the Room came out, when everyone was just like, he wanted to be this drama, and everyone's just like cracking up at it.
All right. Well, as exorcisms began to increase again throughout the next couple of decades, the Catholic Church noticed some issues with just doing them all willy-nilly like, and made amendments to the 1614 guidelines in 1999. And one of the major revisions One that I actually give them props for is that the alleged possessed individual must go through a medical screening prior to any exorcism activity.
Good way to cover your ass, because I think we get more into it, because sometimes what seems like it might be an exorcism might actually not be.
No. Okay, and this is something, yeah, we're going to talk about it. It's very, okay, look, this is because, like, the fact that mental illnesses can often be confused with the symptoms of demonic possession. And it's something that we'll get into shortly, but honestly, they're very similar. That's why they said you got to screen them first. You got to make sure that they're not fucking retarded. You got to make sure that they're not like losing their shit. And if everything checks out, okay, then try an exorcism. Basically, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, so don't make an exorcism like your first step. That's definitely okay, well, let's rule out the other things, because how many people got hurt because that shit was like not in place?
Exactly. How many people got hurt due to negligence, but also how many people, think about it like this. If you are not possessed by a demon, but you have your soul fucking opened up because you're having an unnecessary exorcism performed upon you, that leads you open to possession. So technically you're not possessed, but you could become, because afterwards you never know what will happen.
Yep. And that's why you do your research, people, because if you're just saying exorcism shit willy-nilly, you could actually be making things worse. Now, you might be wondering why I'm not freaking out because we talked Latin. Like I said, we have a cursed episode, so we had a reason to do it.
Exactly. So that wasn't willy-nilly. That was me just technically cleansing our podcast on air. I snuck it in.
Yep. Very, very shifty.
And now we come to 2018 and the latest update about exorcisms and their practitioners. So it turns out exorcisms are on the rise once more in the last couple years. In fact, in April of 2018, more than 200 priests from all around the world gathered at the Vatican for training on performing exorcisms. Holy shit.
So that was 2 years ago.
That was just 2 years ago, man.
Wow. I had no idea. I actually kind of thought this stuff was on the decline.
Honestly, me too. I thought, okay, I'm going to be real with all you guys out there. Until I started doing research on the topic, I was pretty sure that exorcisms stopped, like, I don't know, in the Middle Ages. I don't know. I have no idea. Apparently, it's the complete opposite. They died out in the Middle Ages and are coming back hard now.
Interesting. Now, I know there's like a big era, the Satanic Panic. Was that during the 70s too?
That was in the... I think that was in the 80s and early 90s. I'm not 100% sure, though. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure it was the 80s and 90s, but maybe the late 70s, too.
Okay. Yeah, and it kind of lines up. So it's been ramping up since. And also, how many fucking politicians have been like making deals with the devil to get. There's so much shitty people like in office right now. It kind of makes me think, people have been resorting.
All of them. Literally all of them, dude.
Well, yeah, if you're a politician, you don't really have much of a... Well, there's a reason why they say they don't have a soul.
Yep, because guess what? They sold it for rock and roll, baby.
Yeah, money and prestige.
And drugs.
Oh, so much drugs and probably children.
Woo! Yeah, adrenochromes. Just give them to me.
Boy. I love little girls. They make me feel so... is that going to be our new theme song whenever any sort of like pedo shit comes up?
I love little girls.
Okay.
Okay, enough.
That's it.
We're almost as bad as they are.
Yeah, we are almost.
Now, when asked about why there might be an increase in exorcisms in modern times, since we can't use the films like The Exorcist as an excuse right now, Vince Lampert, the official exorcist for the St. Malachi parish of the Catholic Church, said that it's due to a general decrease in religious faith in the Western world, which makes a lot of fucking sense.
That makes a frightening amount of sense. Because, that's one thing that I was also about to say is because I thought there was a decline because there's a decline in religious fever. We of course, like anybody, you got your crazies and your people that are just all about it. But realistically, people, I feel they're not as religious as they used to be.
Definitely not. And look, this episode isn't me coming out and telling you all that I'm Catholic, because I'm not. All right. I want that to be very clear. But I will say that there is a sense of comfort and a sense of positive vibration that comes with believing in something greater than yourself. Mm-hmm. And if you are believing in a God a Catholic God, a Christian God, a Jewish. I don't know, man. I don't give a fuck. If you believe in something benevolent that's higher than you, some kind of deity, there's a sense of positivity that comes with that. And my personal theory is that demons can't stand that shit.
Yep,
They
no matter
can't
where it
stand
comes.
it. Exactly. No matter where it comes from, it doesn't have to be from a Catholic God. It doesn't have to be from like a Methodist God. If you have that sense of belonging and positivity, they hate it. But the fact that religious faith was so big at one time, it kept out so many demons, and now that it's decreasing in the Western world, it makes a lot of sense that the demons are like, well, shit, time to slip into all these idiots that are just like, they don't believe in anything. You don't have to believe in God. You could believe in magic like I do. I believe in personally in the spiritual power of magic, and that's what's probably helping me out. But if you don't believe in anything, game over, man.
Yeah. Oh shit. That actually is really like, that makes a whole lot of sense. I mean, I remember, obviously it still floats around, but like we had both of us kind of had like a major like doomer phase for a while. Remember?
Oh my God, dude. I was the biggest fucking doomer. I hated my job. I was like smoking cigarettes and listening to like Russian doomer playlists on YouTube. It was the fucking worst. I was so cringy.
Yeah. But I think there's something to be said because I think we're not the only ones going through that. Like how many people, I mean, hell, there's a term for it now, doomer, for like people who are just kind of in this weird middle part of their life where you don't really have any real passions, you don't really have any real beliefs in anything, and you just sort of have this like, I'm just chugging through and just going by the day to days. I mean, and
it's like once you leave high school and you start to grow up after a couple years after high school, and you're like, holy shit, they lied to me. Everybody fucking lied to me about how beautiful life was going to be and about how all the trees are green all the time and their birds are singing outside. Like, I don't give a fuck. I have to pay bills. I'm drunk all the time, and the whole world is just being taken over under our noses, and we can't do anything about it. And then all of a sudden, you fall into like a doomer phase.
Yep. And also to really reinforce that, it's not only just that, but going through that despite having done everything right. You did exactly what they said. You went to school, you went to college, you even got a solid degree, you even got the degree in the thing that makes you money.
You stayed out of jail, you stayed out of trouble.
And you still get fucked. Like that's why. And so that's why I think there's a lot of that, like, especially in the younger generation, there's that sort of more like, fuck everything, man. Like if everybody around me has lied to me, who's to say that maybe religion hasn't been just lying to me too, that they're just fucking scammers just trying to get my shit and blah blah blah. And then you find yourself in that mindset, like you said, where you don't really have any real source of positivity, or you don't have any sort of spirituality anymore. And that's not to say you need spirituality, but if you lack any positivity at all, not only is that just like a terrible thing for your psyche, but also leaves you wide fucking open for a big old demon to slip in you.
That's right. All of your insides become a demon buffet, and you can't do shit about it because you're a poor little piss boy who's sad all the time. All right, cheer up, damn it.
Go for a walk, start lifting. It'll help.
It'll help a lot. Trust me.
Yeah, they actually do say the best way to get out of depression is to do the things that you don't want to do because you're depressed.
Exactly. It actually helps. Honestly, look, I know that people don't like the fucking guy sometimes, but Jordan Peterson, read some of his shit. All right, start making your goddamn bed. Start rocking that lobster energy. I don't give a fuck. It works.
Hell yeah. And I mean, and we're not saying this to motivate you, well, maybe a little bit, but because it will keep you from being possessed. Have a good life. That's your best defense.
Exactly. Unless you want to end up like that little girl in the Exorcist. Start using a crucifix as a really sharp dildo. All right.
Yep. Hey, they wrote it, not us.
Not us, man. I'm just saying what those perverts wrote. Okay. And now in 2020, we don't have a whole lot of news about exorcisms right now, but they are still being performed and they are still increasing. So there's there's no major news stories about it, but they're still being performed to this day all over the world.
And I wonder too, now that there is like a better understanding of like mental illness and stuff, I wonder if like exorcisms are still on the rise, but there's like, more of an understanding of like maybe the exorcism starts and they're like, maybe they're just mentally ill. And that's why it's not because the thing is, I think it's happening a lot more and it's ramping up, like you said. I just don't think it's very publicized because I think maybe they do happen, but they're just not very, like they seem to be going more like clockwork. Oh, I'm possessed. Oh, I call a priest and hey, he came in, he exorcised me, and now we're good. End of story.
Yes, and they're also very private. usually very private matters, especially
Yeah.
nowadays. So like they come to the person's home. Obviously they're not bringing media attention to it. And if you do see media attention these days to an exorcism, you can guarantee it's probably fake. A lot of the times, that's why I couldn't find a lot of stories from nowadays for later on, because it's just a very private matter. And rightfully so. I mean, you're like in a horrible state as a person. You're like throwing up all over the place, and you're like telling your dad you'll suck his dick and shit, and like that's not good. That's not what the news. I mean, the news camera probably wants to see that, but that's not what I want to see. You know what I mean? Actually, I do want to see that. Never mind. Screw everything I just said. I really want to see that. That sounds dope, but we're not going to be able to because they're in their homes. So
Right. Yeah. And that's an interesting thing to kind of think about and discuss, of like, because back then it was huge all over. Everybody wanted to know about. But like you said, I think it is a privacy thing. Well, it was like our girl Esther back in the Poltergeist episode. Her life was a fucking living hell, and they publicized it, and it was the most humiliating, like horrible, and it ended up making everything worse.
Yep. Hey, there's no reason to bring attention to this shit. So if you become possessed or somebody you love, you go through with an exorcism, keep it to yourself. Don't put it on Snapchat like some basic bitch. Come on. Have more sense than that.
Yeah, and who knows? I just, the thing is, like, I don't know what the extent of what demons do, but like, so imagine like, somebody's like older sister or something is like gets possessed, and the younger sister runs in and they just like take a snap selfie with it. Like, would that open up for the younger sister to get cursed just as much?
Honestly, maybe I could see that happening. Yeah, because she's just being disrespectful, and she probably doesn't believe in God either, or anything. So she's probably next in line. Yeah,
that makes sense. So I just to recap, you don't necessarily have to believe in God to be safe. You just got to believe in something positive, and
believe in
that's essentially
something.
Yeah, believe in something higher than you, and even if it's like you're not fully convinced, like, it'll make you feel a little better, and it'll keep you safe. So no harm, no foul. You don't even have to change your lifestyle.
Get into magic. Magic's fucking dope, dude. You could do so much stuff. You get to play with herbs and crystals all day. Get into magic, bro, if you haven't yet. Trust me, dude.
There is safe ways to perform magic. I mean, I got my cleansing stone.
He's got a cleansing stone. All right, even Tasker's in.
Yep. I mean, I don't practice, but I gotta say the stone, it does it gives a good air. It gives a good vibe here.
That's the key. God damn it, I love you sometimes.
Well, and that's why we have love compatibility in my horoscope.
Hey, see, it's all coming together. We have to make up for last episode. Last episode, we were at each other's throats pretty hard. And now I'm going to be in your throat pretty hard. So
yeah, like I said, that's always our what do you call it when you reach an agreement? It's a compromise.
Compromise, yes.
Yeah, our compromise is we're just going to keep it purely physical. See, we're good. We're good at what we do.
Yes, yeah. Now that we have the boring history bullshit, I'm just kidding. It's not that boring, but it's bullshit. We got it out of the way. Let's start getting into the nitty gritty. Now, in this section, we will be talking about how to identify symptoms of a demonic possession and try to determine when it's about time to have an exorcism performed.
Now we're getting into the real spooky stuff. So if you're 8 years old, we warned you. Give your phone back to your mom. This is the part that's going to keep you up at night, maybe.
Yeah, dude, your stepdad's trying to get a hold of her. She's trying to get smashed.
Yeah, do your mom at least this one solid. You've been fucking with her all week. Just give her one day.
Give her one day. Give her phone back. So here is the list. And so you can, what I want you to do with this list is I want you to be on the lookout for these signs when it comes to either yourself or a loved one or somebody that you know. Okay. Because remember, see something, say something.
And this is us too. We got to see. So let's see how many check marks we get, because for all we know, we might already be possessed.
That's a good point. First one is a loss or lack of appetite. Tasker, how has your appetite been lately?
It's been average. Nothing notable, nothing less, or nothing intense.
I have been inhaling food like a fucking vacuum, so I think I'm okay.
All right, so that's one good.
Cutting, scratching, or biting either one's own skin, like doing it to yourself, or having mysterious cuts, scratches, or biting showing up on the skin.
I just have a dry, itchy scalp, and that's I don't think that. I guess that technically could, but I think that's just a skin thing.
Yeah, I don't think that's a demon.
Nah. How about you?
I don't think so. I think I'm pretty good. I don't think I've gotten any mysterious cuts or bites or anything. So I think I'm good on this one too.
Yeah, and you're living in a new place too, so that's a really good sign because by now you would probably know if there was some shit going on, huh?
Hopefully, that's the hope. Unless it's playing the long con, then I'll find out in about a year.
Yep. We'll make sure you keep us in the loop.
A cold air about the room in which the individual is in, and that cold air follows them from room to room.
Dude, I fucking wish my room is the hottest in my entire place. Like, it sucks. I always have to have a fan on in here. So, nope, that's a no for me.
Dude, I don't know. I've been pretty cold. I've been cold as fuck lately.
Yeah, but you've also been like dieting and stuff, right?
Yeah. My circulation's really bad right now.
Mm-hmm. Got to eat more iron.
Dude, that's all I eat.
Evidently not enough. You got to start getting like you get those teeth like what's his face from James Bond and just start biting into iron ingots.
Oh, I could do that. Yeah, I could do that.
Is it ingots or is it ingots?
I thought it was ingots, but I don't know, man. It's a weird spelling, and I'm not a fucking blacksmith, you know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I got that from Skyrim.
Oh yeah, ingots. Yeah.
So anyway, so that's a big we'll say kind of a maybe, but probably not for you and a no for me.
Yeah. Here's another one. Unnatural postures, like a contortionist, and changes in that person's facial features, such as eye color.
Fucking terrifying. I am incredibly unflexible, so there's no way.
I am very, 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 very not flexible. So I'm going to say no.
Okay, cool. And that does not mean that your contortionist friend is somebody of concern. They worked very hard to be that flexible.
Yes, but if your grandmother starts doing fitting into cardboard boxes and shit, you might want to call a priest.
Dude, how much does that suck? You are a contortionist and then you get possessed and nobody just like gives a shit.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, right, you fucking liar.
Nice try, buddy.
Nice try, nerd. Go back to the gym.
You should start bullying him.
All right. The person's personality is nothing like their normal self, and they are usually full of rage and fly off the handle, acting very strangely all the time. They may even physically attack other people.
That just sounds like you whenever somebody brings up veganism.
God, it just makes me so fucking angry.
No, I get mad at video games, but that's about it. I generally don't direct rage towards other people because that's not nice.
Oh, isn't that nice? Isn't Tasker being so nice, guys?
Yeah. How about you? Have you been flying off the handle at people lately outside of Kiwi?
I've been kind of short. I've been short tempered lately just because of the move, but now things are settling down and I'm better. You know, it's not like I was punching holes in walls and like kicking babies and shit, but you know,
Right.
I was frustrated easily by little things, and I'm getting better. I would say no. I'm going to say a hard no on this one.
In your lifetime, did you ever find yourself identifying like, you know how we have like Karens for like older women that are like, you know, loud and annoying and always don't want to speak to your manager? Did you ever relate to the term the Kyles, where it's like the dudes who just like punch holes in walls and drink Monster, and it's just like, you know, shoving their masculinity all over people's face?
There was a time in my life, I would say late high school to early, I would say late high school to maybe a year or two after high school, where I was in fact a Kyle. I would drink a bunch of Monster. I used to play Call of Duty. I used to punch holes in my dresser when I would lose at Call of Duty. And yes, and I would smoke cigarettes. That was definitely a douchey time in my life.
Oh, that's so nice. Because I brought that up because I know you like drink an ungodly amount of Monsters. So I was just curious.
Yes, I was in fact a Kyle, ladies and gentlemen, but I have outgrown that, and now I am some goth guy.
Yeah. See, it's like, you know, we all have the potential for character development. I watch some horror movies now. You know what? We can all change. We can all adjust.
And I'm proud of you for that, man. Honestly.
Thank you, man. It's like, did I bring up my roller coaster theory on air yet?
No.
So the thing is with horror films is it's a lot like riding a roller coaster. If you've never been on one before, especially fucking terrifying until you go on your first loop. And after you go on the first loop and you go whoop, up and over and you realize, oh, that wasn't either A, that wasn't that bad, or B, that was scary, but I also now know what to expect. And once you kind of in the horror film, once you get to the first kill and you see really like the level of like gratuitousness and the style of the killing that's going to happen in the movie and stuff like that, kind of the rest of it becomes a little bit more bearable because it's that tension and dread that really fucks you up.
Exactly. That's a good way to put it, man. It's just like anything. So, guys, please watch your horror movies. It's October, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, that's the best. So you got to rip that Band-Aid off soon. I mean, basically what happened with me was because I'd never seen a horror film. I think the first one I finally actually intentionally sat through was Paranormal Activity when I was in I think I was a freshman in high school, and that was because a bunch of people got together. We're all gonna go watch a movie, and it was like me and like one other dude and like 6 girls. So I was just like, I can't pussy out of this one. I have to go.
Dude.
I have to go. So that's how it started. I didn't sleep for like 3 nights, but
Me neither.
yeah. Well, it sucked because the house kind of looked like the one I was living in at the time, and it didn't help.
That was a scary one. All right, another one is a change in their voice. Oftentimes, it will have 2 or 3 tones at once.
So they talk like this and they have many tones.
Do you, Nick, remember when we were like coming home from a party or something, and we stopped by a gas station, and I went in to go get a drink, and some crackhead came up to you, this old woman who, as now we're talking now, I think actually may have been possessed. Because what did she sound like?
Dude, I've never had a paranormal experience in my life. That was the closest thing I've had to a paranormal experience. So Tasker and I, he said, we were on the way home from a party. We stopped at a gas station. He went inside. I came back outside before him. As I was walking around to the passenger door to his car, this old woman, dude, she had to have been like 60, 70. This old woman walked up to me. It was like midnight, bro, in the middle of fucking nowhere at a gas station. She walks up in the parking lot and she said, she asked if we could get a ride or something like that. But dude, she sounded like, I swear to God, she sounded like she had 3 voices talking at once, all at different pitches. It was one of the freakiest things in my life that's ever happened, dude.
And like, keep in mind, this was like back in like our earlier prime when we were like early 20s and like nobody fucked with us kind of time.
Yeah.
That was the only time I think I'd ever seen you legitimately terrified. Like, and I've seen you in like bar fights. I've seen you in like some real shit. But like, that was the only time like you were pale and you were like, dude, we need to get the fuck out of here right now.
It was so freaky, dude. Her eyes were glossed over and she like kept getting closer to me. I was like, no, like no, like I didn't know what to do in that situation. So this is a big one, a change in their voice. And this is something we'll talk about in the stories. But that woman's voice from that gas station, dude, I will never forget what it sounded like. And I'm like 90% sure she was possessed.
Yeah. Well, now you think, 'cause I remember you were trying to explain it to me. I was just like, well, maybe she's just like fucking fucked up, or maybe you're like, no, I've seen crackheads before. I know that, and that shit there was something different.
It was freaky, dude.
Yeah, we noped the fuck out of there, and that was the last we ever saw of it.
Yeah. So they also might have supernatural strength, especially for their size and stature, where you really, really know something is up. So like if a little girl gets possessed and she started to throw grown-ass men around the room like rag dolls, there's something going on there. Yeah,
that's a pretty good sign. It's a pretty obvious sign too, I'd imagine.
Yeah, nothing stands out like that.
So yeah, and that's I think one of the more like, okay, probably not a mental disorder.
No, well, I don't know, man. Some retards are pretty strong.
Wow. Okay, that you're getting your yellow card.
Ah, god damn it. All right.
Nice one.
Another major sign is that they just start speaking in tongues. And that's an obvious one. All right.
That's also one I feel is the most easiest to fake.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't speak tongues if I tried. I don't know, man.
I feel like you don't even have to like get the other language right. Because first of all, who the fuck knows how to speak Latin anymore? And 2, I feel like you could just start babbling nonsense. And they're like, they're speaking in tongues. Like, what the fuck? Whereas like you could just kind of use the inflection because that's something we might get into later of like, sometimes people get really caught up in the attention of people thinking they're possessed and they just kind of play it up a bit.
Yeah, that's true. Like, it could be faked. I could just start playing, and then people are like, whoa, somebody call a priest.
This guy's got such a raging clue.
Another one is predictions of the future, especially through dream premonition.
Now, this one, I think you don't necessarily have to be possessed, because I have known people who have like that kind of shit that happens to them. But like, I don't know, kind of a weird middle ground, huh?
I would say so. We have a friend who I don't know if I should name or not that listens, a friend, and she predicts a lot of things through dreams. So, but I know she's not possessed. So, yeah, it could be either way. I think this is just like a supplementary thing on top of all of these other ones. Like if you are just predicting the future through dreams, I don't think you're possessed. But if you are seeing other signs from this list and you're starting to predict dreams, that's probably not a good sign.
Yeah, that's one of those symptoms. It's like it really only means something if you have like 2 or 3 other ones going on at the same time.
Exactly.
Creepy. I forget. How accurate were the dream predictions? Like, were they pretty spot on?
Oh yeah, they were scarily spot on. Yeah.
I had one instance of that. It's really like mundane and stupid, but I just remember it being really weird, and it could be a deja vu thing for all I know. But like, that would be a good topic to get into someday. But one time I had a dream, or no, I was like going to bed, and then like I heard just like an isolated voice. It's like I heard it, but I didn't. And the voice said, "Hey, nice shoes, man." And I was like, "I'm not wearing any shoes, but okay." And went to bed and didn't think anything of it. And literally the next day, when I go to school and I sit down in my biology class, first thing is I sit down, and then I didn't have new shoes on or anything like that. But then the kid sitting next to me suddenly just looked over and he's like, "Oh, hey, nice shoes, man." Like in the exact same way that's the only instance of vaguely predicting the future I've ever had in my life. And it was creepy. I didn't feel good.
That's weird, man.
Telling you. Hispanic blood, dude. There's I don't get a whole lot of it, and I think that's because the impurity of my white side. But,
yes. I mean, some people might see it the other way around, but you know.
But you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm glad if the white part of me dilutes the spirituality, the be able to connect and talk to the other world, I'm fucking totally okay with that. I don't want to talk to them. I want to stay in the plane of existence that I exist in.
There you go, buddy. Good for you, man. You're being okay with yourself.
Feels good. It feels good. It feels very accepting.
There also might be levitation of the possessed person or items around them.
Fuck that.
Yeah, that's something that we're going to see in a story later on. That's some serious shit.
Yeah, that's where things are going to get really creepy. And that's another thing too. It's like levitation could also be a sign of a haunting. So there's some carryover here. But like we said, if this and like a couple other things are going on, it's like we're right now, we're being your paranormal doctors. We're trying to kind of, hone in on your symptoms and figure out what is really going on.
Paranormal WebMD, only on Close Encounters, the podcast kind.
That's not a bad venture. Yeah, maybe we could start that up. Make like a WebMD for like paranormal bullshit.
I would fucking love that. Actually, I would love that.
It's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. So for listeners, thank you for stealing it. We appreciate that.
You bastards. All right. Another one is intense aversion or hatred toward any type of religious object, such as a Bible or crucifix, usually Christian-related objects.
Or just that one kid in the philosophy class with the trench coat.
Yeah, it's either you're possessed or you're a fucking neckbeard.
Yeah, that's the best part of philosophy classes. You get that one fucking kid who just like tries to go up against some dude who to be qualified as a philosophy professor, you have to be like incredibly well read. So like it's so entertaining. Just watch these kids just get put in their place.
So cringy, dude. I used to have to sit there and listen to them try and argue with the professor about, and it's just some like 19-year-old kid who just like doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about, wearing a fedora.
Yeah, well, the best is when they do the voice, and like it's one of those like there's not a very incredibly like super distinct way of, but it's like the voice when you hear they kind of talk a little bit more like this. If you really think about it, there's a sort of they have that. It's like that, like they're pretending to sound smart kind of thing.
God, I just want to punch him in the face. That's all I want to do when I hear people like that, dude. I just want to go over. I just want to give him a donkey punch. You know what I mean?
And then donkey punch. Sorry, that just clicked. But it's like, yeah, they have that way where it's like, when if you call them out on it, you're like, why the fuck you talk like that? It's like, what? That I pay attention to my rhetoric, so that way I. It's like, yeah, god damn it, dude. Like, you don't. We already understand you. Shut the fuck up. Like, oh my god.
That's so good. And lastly, they will talk poorly about other people who enter a church. So again, it's the philosophy class kid.
Trench coat, fedora, neckbeard having, like, I think these last two ones, it's just, if your only symptoms are the last two, you're probably just a neckbeard.
You're probably just an asshole, all right?
Some pseudo Rick and Morty watching Reddit intellectual.
Exactly.
And that's there you have it. So if you have a couple of those, maybe we could zero in a little bit on what's going on.
Remember, see something, say something, call a priest.
Exactly. Got to do your part.
All right. Now that we have all these symptoms lined up and we know what to look for, how the hell are we supposed to know when to conduct an exorcism? I kind of glanced over it earlier, but it's really quite simple. First, you contact a church, usually a Catholic church, and tell them, let's say your kid or your grandmother or your dog, I don't care, somebody's possessed, right?
Mm-hmm.
They tell you, first off, if your dog is possessed, he probably just ate some garbage. So don't worry about that one.
That's usually an easy fix.
But they tell you, the church will tell you to get them checked out both physically and mentally by medical professionals, which is probably a good move.
Yeah, it's a good first step. Very good first step.
Yeah, as much as I don't trust doctors, I also believe that you should check all the boxes before resorting to religious help.
Yeah, because there might be an easier fix. And like you've established earlier, if you do it incorrectly, you might actually be opening it. Maybe it's not a possession, and now you're opening yourself up for a possession.
Precisely. No bueno.
Mm-mm.
So the medical professionals and the church will actually work closely together, and in most cases, to figure out if they are retarded or if they actually need. Okay, you're
on a roll, man. You're on a roll.
Okay, if they are mentally handicapped or actually in need of an exorcism.
I do love our system of like, yes, you can be politically incorrect, but we have distinct limits.
Like I have like a cap of each one I can say.
Exactly.
If they check out fine at the hospital, then it's exorcism time.
Hey.
Although it is important to point out here that a priest assigned to an exorcism case has every right to not do it, even if everything checks out medically, which seems kind of rude, but they can.
So they can bitch out.
They can absolutely bitch out, like if it's too intense or if they just don't feel like they know, like they can help the person without even trying. Some priests do that, and they'll just like be like, nah, and they'll just like bounce,
like, yes, well, fuck this.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. But these days, the Catholic Church is actually very hesitant to do exorcisms, and they like to really cover their bases with the victim in question before resorting to an exorcism. Because like we said earlier, the cases and the requests for exorcisms are on the rise, and they want to make sure that they're actually conducting what needs to be conducted, and it's not just a mental illness.
Yeah, and that it's taken seriously. Because I think with the shit that's been happening with the Catholic Church, because they've been cracking down on like pedophilia like super hard lately, and like I know some high-ranking guys have been like getting knocked down. So
it's about goddamn time. Oh, isn't it like 2020? And they're like, you know what? We've been letting them slide for I don't know long enough. Maybe we should start, instead of moving them to different parishes so they can just basically get a whole variety of kids to fuck. Maybe we should just actually start putting them in jail. Isn't that a weird thought to have?
It's sad, but very, very true. And same with Boy Scouts of America.
Perverts.
Yeah. Well, there was a whole thing where I think it's like 1 in like 20 kids, I think, got like molested in the Boy Scouts.
Look, when you start putting them in those little uniforms, all right? No, I'm just kidding. Let's not do this.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's say you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms that we talked about earlier of an exorcism, and you get checked out by a medical professional, and you are as healthy as a horse. And at this point, an exorcism needs to be conducted. What exactly does a standard exorcism entail? Well, first off, I need you to calm down. Calm the fuck down, because that's what I'm going to be talking about next, okay?
You gotta be calm. That's the most important part.
That's the most important part.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are 6 main steps commonly seen in exorcisms, which we will cover. First, there is a presence detected by the exorcist and their associates. This is a demonic presence, and it weighs heavily on them spiritually.
So, in other words, you walk in and the vibe is off.
The vibe is not vibing. You walk in with your Coors and your fucking White Claws, and you're like, where's the party? And all of a sudden, everybody's already asleep and they're already shit-faced, and the music has stopped, and you're just standing there with your beer in hand. That's the equivalent of this.
And you get the funny feeling that maybe one of them is actually just watching you.
Yeah, just one, but out of the corner of their eye.
That's honestly, that I don't even think that was our intention, but that's actually a really good way to put it.
Creepy. Very creepy.
You feel like something's there, and you just got that unease, like something's off.
Ugh. Now, second, there comes what is known as the pretense. And in this stage is when the demon possessing the person will try to act like the victim in an attempt to fool the exorcist and the victim's family or friends. And at this point, it's extremely important to not be fooled by the demon, and finding out its true name is the top priority.
Demons are tricksters. That's their whole deal.
You gotta trick them back, dude. You gotta be smarter than the demon.
Mm-hmm. It sucks.
And third, the next step is what we call the break point or the breaking point. This is the time in which the demon knows that their attempts to come off as the victim is not working, so they come out full-fledged fucking shit up. This includes aggressive behavior, talking about the victim in third person, disgusting smells emanating from the victim, body contortions, and many, many other terrible sights.
And now I'm sure that's the point where most people would run away, but that actually means you're making progress.
Exactly. Most priests would bounce probably somewhere in the second, maybe definitely in the third. The real OG priests stick around for 4, 5, and 6.
Yep, the real motherfuckers.
The real motherfuckers. Now, step 4. This is referred to as the voice. Not that shitty talent show, by the way, all right? I don't want to hear another goddamn word about American Idol or The Voice. I don't care if an 8-year-old can sing better than me. That's not like my priority anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one thing to keep yourself, I know in the art community, one thing to keep yourself humble is no matter how good you get, there's going to be some 8-year-old somewhere who's going to be always better than you will ever be.
It's sad but true, man.
Yep, that's how it is.
This is the step in which the demon's voice comes through the victim's vocal cords. It's distorted, disturbing, and unnatural. And in order for the exorcism to continue, the voice of the demon must be silenced.
Just punch him.
It's like, all right, biatch. Start like slapping him.
I'm Rick James, bitch.
What did the 5 fingers say to the face?
Smack. Oh, dude, I would love to get exorcised by Rick James. That would be an honor.
That would be an honor. And step 5, the second to last portion of the exorcism is the clash between the demon and the exorcist. As the exorcist basically tires out the demon, its voice begins to fade, and the exorcist is able to truly begin trying to banish the demon from the victim.
So this is the power of Christ compels you part, right?
Exactly.
Throwing crucifixes at it, tossing holy water in its direction, all that good stuff.
Smacking him in the face and teabagging him, all kinds of shit.
Doing what you normally do on Call of Duty, but in real life. So, hey, consider being a priest.
Yeah, dude, he's just blessing you technically with his balls, you know?
I mean, if you are a priest, does that mean your sweat is holy? So therefore, by teabagging them, are you not dosing them with holy water?
Holy schmegba.
Holy schmeg. Oh, gross.
All right, and 6, the final step of the exorcism is the expulsion of the demon, if it's a successful one, right?
Mhm.
At this moment, the demon is banished back to hell or wherever it came from, and the victim returns to their normal self, and the evil presence originally felt is no longer detectable. After the expulsion, the victim may or may not remember being possessed, and the events of the exorcism, honestly, it's just dependent on the victim.
Damn. So it's exciting.
It's very exciting, all right? Now, something to point out here is that a lot of the time, the first attempt at an exorcism is not always successful, and it may take several days, weeks, or even months to conduct a successful exorcism. This all depends on the strength of the demon and how high up on the demonic tier they are. So as far as which prayers are recited to drive demons out of their victims, there are three main ones used by Catholic exorcists. First is the Lord's Prayer. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Your will be done on earth as it is in heaven.
I know this one.
You're Catholic.
Yeah, I was like, wait, hold on. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil.
There you go. Look at that, dude. You are a bona fide Catholic exorcist.
Yep, you saw that shit. I did not look at the screen.
He didn't.
Yeah, no, they drilled that shit in our heads. It's like we said that like every day, and that was the prayer. Actually, as a kid, I used to my mom had to say whenever we were scared.
Exactly. See, and it's supposed to help drive off demons.
So makes sense.
And the second one is the Hail Mary. Do you know Hail Mary?
Oh yeah, obviously. Hail Mary, full of grace, glory be with thee. Fuck, no, maybe okay. I don't know. Hail Mary, full of grace. Wow, it's been a long time since I've read this one. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Nice job. Look at you, dude. Look at you, man. If anybody's having exorcism problems, fucking call Tasker up. He'll come over and help you out for a nice fee.
Evidently, I'm pretty equipped for this. I had no idea. And this is good. This is good review. It makes me feel safer.
Okay, this next one is called the Athanasian Creed. Okay, I'm not reading it. It is very long.
I just pulled it up. That's like an essay.
So if you're curious as to what that is, go ahead and take a look at that. You can find it online. But now here are some Bible verses which either involve exorcisms or are used during exorcisms themselves.
Mark 16 through 18. He that believeth and is baptized shall be saved, but he that believeth not shall be damned.
1 Peter 5:8. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour.
Ephesians 6:10 through 18. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might.
Luke 10:19. Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you.
Acts 19:15. And the evil spirit answered and said, Jesus I know, and Paul I know, but who are ye?
And finally, Mark 5:13. And forthwith Jesus gave them leave. And the unclean spirits went out and entered into the swine, and the herd ran violently down a steep place into the sea. They were about 2,000, and were choked in the sea.
Is that why certain religions don't like pigs? Because they think that's where evil spirits live?
Possibly.
Is that what they meant by swine in this one?
I think they just called them swine like bastards, like assholes.
Oh, I see. See, the unclean spirits went out and they entered into the swine. I don't know if that's literal or not, but
I could be.
I'm just speculating.
It could be. Okay, so now for the final section of the episode, let's get into some exorcism stories. All right, let's get into the good.
Getting the juicy, fantastic. How does this affect me? How do I learn from this? The best way we learn is from real world experiences.
Precisely. So you can best prepare yourself. Look for these signs in these stories, okay? Now, let's begin with a big one and a fairly recent one. We're going to be talking about how Mother Teresa herself had an exorcism performed on her near the end of her life. Okay?
I have heard, despite her reputation, Mother Teresa was a partaker in questionable methods of conversion. Like she would convert people like on their deathbed without their consent.
Yeah, she was not a very nice person.
Yeah, I've heard shit. I've heard shit.
So you see, as Mother Teresa grew into old age, her health really started declining and she was hospitalized. In the early 90s, she had developed pneumonia and began having heart problems. And those issues went on for another, let's say, 4 or 5 years. Then, in 1996, her health rapidly declined with a whole laundry list of other issues, including a broken collarbone from a fall. You know, like old fucking people, dude. Old fucking people can't handle a fall. It's ridiculous to me how fragile they are. I don't know.
Right. Well, yeah, your system kind of starts to get a lot more brittle, a lot more quicker when you reach the past. I want to say like maybe in like your 70s.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't really like old people.
I think it's. I think it varies depending on genetics, but we'll go with that.
Fair enough. She also contracted malaria and had a failure of the left ventricle in her heart, which required surgery. And at that age, as you could imagine, it was pretty fucking rough to have that heart surgery.
Right.
Now, at the hospital, Mother Teresa began having trouble sleeping at night, and she would say that she felt all right during the day, as all right as she could be with everything going on, but at night, she would thrash around uncontrollably, and was hardly able to sleep. In fact, she would become so agitated and thrash around so much at night that she would end up ripping the monitoring equipment out of her body.
Oh, wow, that's definitely not normal.
Not good. During her stay at the hospital, another clergy member was staying there and had the same doctor as her, an archbishop. Good Lord, I can't speak today.
That's for you, all the retard words you were dropping.
Yeah, now I'm transitioning. Yeah,
and I understand. I'm aware of the irony of me stuttering while I said that. So
we're both just kind of retarded.
Honest. That's why we don't take the test, like we said last time.
Yeah. And this clergyman was an archbishop. Good fucking God.
We're almost there, man. We're at the end of the episode.
All right, I can say this. Archbishop. He was an archbishop by the name of Henry de Souza. Okay? Yes, I said it.
Good.
Henry learned about Mother Teresa's sleeplessness and night thrashings, and after talking to the doctor, he came to the conclusion that an exorcism should be performed on her.
Them's fighting words, especially to say to Mother Teresa herself.
Yeah. But you know what? That old bitch didn't have a say in this, dude. She could hardly move, so.
Fair. That's fair.
Now, here's what he said about the situation. Quote, "When doctors said they could not find a medical reason for her sleeplessness, I thought she might be getting attacked by the devil. I wanted to calm her down and asked a priest in the name of the church to perform an exorcism prayer on her." Unquote. And it was shortly after this, and of course, with a little bit of controversy, because as soon as you start talking about performing an exorcism on Mother Teresa, everybody fucking poops their pampers, right?
Right.
But it was shortly after this that Father Rosario. Okay, let me redo that. All right, there's a lot of fucking foreign names in this episode. Father Rosario Strosio from Sicily performed an exorcism on Mother Teresa at her bedside in the hospital. And apparently it worked, but she died shortly after, so who gives a fuck? It did not matter.
Yeah, she was kind of a death's door anyways. And one could argue that maybe it wasn't necessarily possession. Maybe she was just old and just shit was... Your system starts to fail. Like, we're not meant to live past a certain age. And with modern medicine, we can live longer than we're really naturally supposed to. So your system just kind of works like shit. I just think of that little Dickie music video on Let Me Freak at the very last part where they were just like old as shit. And like, she's like throwing out his shoes and like all that stuff.
Yeah, old people suck, man. Look, if we have listeners who are old, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? I'm talking about like the 80, 90-year-olds. I don't mean like You know what I mean?
60s, 70s are fine. It's that whole thing. Well, and also too, I think they might have to agree with you. Like, I mean, being in a state where you are especially when you're mentally there and you can't take a shit without help.
Yeah.
That sounds terrible.
That's not a good life. And then you take it out on me. You end up taking it out on me, saying that I can't wear my skinny jeans with the holes in the knees because I look like a I would belong in West Hollywood and shit. That's rude. You can't start saying stuff like that. And fucking old people think they can say anything they want because guess what? They're old, and you wouldn't hit an old person. Well, guess what? Think again. I would pop an old person in the heartbeat if they gave me a reason to. All right. I'm not afraid of an old person, dude. I will literally look, this bitch, Mother Teresa, she fell down and broke her collarbone. Imagine what would happen if I picked up an old dude who called me a name and broke him over my knee like Bane in that one Batman movie. He'd snap in half, dude. Come at me. Come find me, old man.
Well, I don't think people are scared of old people.
No, but that's the thing, man. Old people think they can get away with anything. They think just because they're old and nobody's gonna attack them.
There's middle-aged people who feel like they can get away with everything. Some of the worst customers I've had were people in their like 50s. Don't get me wrong. There's some really mean fucking old people that I can agree that I mean it's a big generalization, and I know not every older person is like this, but there is that entitlement of I've made it to this age, therefore everybody should fucking like respect me. And I'm just gonna respond most simply by saying, doesn't matter who you are or where you came from, what era you came from, if you're a time traveler, any of that shit. We live in an era where respect is earned, regardless of your position.
No,
Fuck.
you're right. And you're 100% right. You have to earn my respect. I don't care if you're 90. I don't care if you're 50. I don't care if you're some little 6-year-old asshole. If you're 6 years old and you start calling me names like Poopy Butt and like Lint Liquor, I'm going to drop kick you down the stairs. And you can't stop me because I'm like 2 times taller than you, bro.
I hope someday in the future where we can actually meet the people who listen to our podcast, and there's going to be some 6-year-old who listened to this episode. By the time we meet him, he'll be like 8 years old, and he'll come up to you and call you a poopy face and just watch you just like snap.
Oh yeah, poopy face, huh? Why don't you come up on stage real quick? Huh?
Watch you 100% like not even joking get triggered. What the fuck you just say to me? Who said that?
Hey, which one of you in the crowd said that, huh? Sounded like some little girl said that. Oh, it was a little girl? Oh, come up here and say it again then. See what happens.
Yeah, real fucking funny guy, huh? Oh yeah, you're just so full of jokes. Come up here.
Huh, who's the comedian? Me or you? Huh? Fucking dude. Yeah, but you're right, dude. Earn my respect, old people, and stop falling down and breaking all your stuff. You're making us look bad as humans. All right. Let's move on. We have another story to get to that I'm excited about, and now I'm angry. I'm just so mad when I bring up old people. I think it's all my years in retail. That's just what really pissed me off.
Honestly, dude, you are not alone in that.
Next up, we have the exorcism of a man named George Lukens. George Lukens.
I was gonna almost George Lucas.
Almost. That guy needs to be exercised physically. He's getting fat.
Yes. Poor guy.
Our boy George, all right, was a tailor from England, and our story takes place in 1778. That was a good year.
Sure.
Yeah, well, women still couldn't vote, and
wow,
we still had cotton that needed to get picked. So a woman in town by the name of Sarah Barber had called upon Reverend Joseph Easterbrook on May 31st, 1778, because she grew increasingly worried about the man George Lukens. She said that George was a fine man usually, and he was always attended church and such. He was like a regular run-of-the-mill dude. But for the past 18 years or so, he was prone to abnormal bouts of behavior, and it was becoming worse and worse, and the frequency was increasing more so over the years. So George was put into the care of various medical professionals to see if anything could be done for him, but eventually, after a 20-week stay at St. George's Hospital, the medical community essentially gave up on him, saying that he was incurable.
Oh boy.
Now, after hearing this, members of the village began to whisper rumors that he was possessed by a demon. But it was confirmed when George himself said that he was possessed by 7 demons and they could only be banished away by 7 members of the clergy.
It just sounds like the start of an anime.
I'm already pissed, man. Don't you bring it up. Don't do it.
I've been really into Demon Slayer lately. I've been reading the manga because I couldn't wait for the movie. And their demons, you turn to a demon by drinking demon blood, and the sunlight kills you, or you got to cut their head off, but only with a special sword.
I'm going to ask the question that half of our listeners are asking, and that's who gives a shit? Who the fuck cares about Demon Slayer? All right, look. I know you got your buddies on Discord who are just like fucking they have your back. All right, but guess what? I'm standing strong. I don't give a fuck about Demon Slayer.
I'm building my resistance army slowly and surely within the Close Encounters community.
All right, what? Okay, let's go. Oh, come on. I mean, I lost my groove. You got me thinking about like Korean cartoons and shit. Let's move on. All right.
Fair enough. Okay, so 7 demons and 7 members of the clergy, right?
Exactly. Now, Reverend Easterbrook reached out to another reverend he knew, Reverend John Wesley, and they began making plans to conduct an exorcism on George. So, on June 13th, 1778, the Reverends Easterbrook and Wesley joined forces, along with 5 other members of the Methodist and Anglican clergy, to perform the exorcism on George. After hours and hours of hymns and prayers conducted by the 7 clergymen, the demons were finally casted out of George and sent back to hell using the Trinitarian formula as the final push, which reads, "In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit." That was the final blow.
The Holy Trinity. That's cool. That's a neat, flashy way to finish.
Exactly. I mean, it's got that Hollywood vibe, you know?
It really does. Just all these chants and all these phrases and da-da-da, and then you just hit them with the classic name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Out of there.
Boom. Gonzo.
Poetic justice.
Now, after the exorcism, George actually returned to his former, normal, happy self. And this is an exorcism that has a happy and palpable ending.
Yay. Oh, that's fun. I like that they gathered it is like an anime.
How is it like an anime?
Because are you kidding me with that sort of like, oh, but the only way is you need to gather the 7 clergymen across the land, bring them together to perform the ultimate exorcism. And then they did it, and it was a big, flashy, cool, high-budget animated ending, and everyone's happy, and then the author like dies, and then we don't get any more.
Nope. I mean, look, man, it sounds more to me like a cool concept album for like a power metal band or something, more so than an anime.
That's actually not a bad idea either. I would definitely listen to that.
Now, let's wrap things up with possibly the best documented and most well-known possession and exorcism of all time. And we are, of course, talking about the exorcisms of Emma Schmidt. And yes, that's exorcisms plural.
What?
Plural. That means that there's 2 or more of something, Tasker. I don't want to have to be your English teacher again. You know what I mean?
Okay. I get it.
So, Emma Schmidt was born in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, right?
Wisconsin, eh?
We're going to Wisconsin again, buddy. And it's in 1882, right? That's a long time ago. Huh.
Oh, boy.
I'm not going to do the voice the whole time.
Thank you.
She grew up in a devout Catholic household run by her German immigrant parents. That sounds like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. Oh, actually, and that makes sense because Wisconsin's a big, like, German, like, that's where I think it was like when America was first being founded, like, basically all the German people went to Wisconsin. That's why beer is so huge there. And apparently they have a thing called like a fish fry every Friday where.
Yeah, come on down to the fish fry, buddy. We're going to have all kinds of fucking good food there with our cheeses, and we're frying fish up after church. Oh, it's going to be great, pal.
It's crazy. It's actually part built into their culture where most people get off of work early on Friday because it's Fish Friday.
It's Fish Friday. Oh, come on, buddy. How did you forget about that? Come on, it's 3:00. You know, we're supposed to be leaving work 2 hours early. I got the fish in the back seat here. I'm going to go ahead and fry it up for you with some cheese curds. Oh, my goodness. You're never going to be able to taste nothing again after that. I tell you what, buddy.
Oh, it sounds honestly doesn't. If I didn't hate the Midwest so much, I would say that sounds great.
Yeah, sounds awful. Fuck it, the Midwest, dude. It's a terrible, terrible place. Unless you're listening from there, then hey, fuck yeah, dude.
We love the Midwest is the shit. It's a great place. I love pop. I love
fish fries and
fish fries.
Your fucking cheese curds like you're fucking in a nursery rhyme. Come on,
cheese curds are delicious, though. I will say
they're fine. They're fine. Not a lot is known about Emma's early childhood, but it's known that her mother died when she was around 8 years old. And she not when her mom was 8 years old, when Emma was 8 years old. All right.
Good clarification. I didn't even think about that.
And unfortunately, Emma was left in the care of her alcoholic and abusive father. Now, it's known that her father was emotionally and mentally abusive, but it's speculated that she was physically abused as well.
That's sad.
The triple threat. So despite her troubled childhood, she remained a devout Catholic, holding out faith for a better life in the future with the help of God and Jesus.
Praise.
But around the age of 14, she began to develop behaviors which she never had before. For instance, she started to show signs of repulsion when face-to-face with the religious objects, and she was unable to enter a church without having a total and complete fucking mental breakdown.
And it's interesting, too, that it's usually around 14, that kind of age where it's like puberty starting to set in and stuff. And we'll see that also with like ghosts and hauntings and stuff. And just shooting in the dark here, but like, you think it's because when you, as a woman, when you begin to go through puberty, you are now basically able to give birth and have children. So I wonder if it is it, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just speculating that the reason why there's such a connection to spirituality is because essentially you've now been bestowed the power of giving life, which is like a pretty big deal with the spiritual world, right?
That's an astute observation. I think that demons are just like bears and they can smell the menstruation.
Wow. So going for more of a shark theory, huh?
No, I'm just kidding. You're onto something. You're right. But also you have to think about this time in not even just a girl's life, but in a boy's life. Puberty in general is a very, what's the term here? You're very vulnerable during this time, and you're vulnerable emotionally. You're vulnerable physically. So it makes a lot of sense that things like this, possessions or hauntings, they happen during puberty because you're in a very weird state of mind, and you're just not in the right state of mind to protect yourself.
Yeah, you're not buying into the bullshit anymore. They can't just say, "Oh, it's the fucking Easter Bunny." You're like, "No, I know what the I understand the world now. What the hell are you doing?" Like the lies don't work anymore, and that's a very, although an important part of growing up, it's not fun to learn that you've been lied to your entire life.
Yeah, dude. Look, you're telling me there's no such thing as a tooth fairy? You're telling me my mother and father have been coming into my room every time I lose a tooth, taking that tooth out from under my pillow and putting like $1 or something in there. That's creepy, all right? That's almost creepier than a tooth fairy existing.
Almost. Although we can get into the fact why the tooth fairy is actually a fucking terrifying creature, but we'll save that for another time.
That would be a good one. So, Emma actually even began to have fantasies about smashing vials of holy water and physically attacking the priests within the church. And the local church heard about the strange and violent behavior coming from the young Emma, and the community reached out to a priest named Father Theophilus Reisinger. All right. And because of that name, I will be referring to him as Father Theo because I refuse to say that name again. I do not live in ancient Rome. There's no fucking reason for me to say that name. Okay.
No complaints here.
So after agreeing to help Emma, Father Theo performed his first exorcism on her in 1912. Now, not much is known about this initial. Good Lord, dude, I cannot fucking talk today. All right. Not much is known about this initial exorcism, but it was said to be successful for a while.
Hmm.
And it was in 1928, 16 years later, that Father Theo was reached out to yet again to help Emma in her battle with the demons. So in this 16-year gap, Emma had become progressively worse once the demons had taken possession again after the first exorcism. And Father Theo actually conducted 19 more exorcisms on different people throughout this 16-year gap and became a go-to priest for exorcisms in America. He actually got quite a name for himself throughout this 16-year gap.
So he had his training arc.
Exactly. His what?
His training arc.
Is that an anime thing?
No.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, one can also say it's the training montage. If you want more of a Rocky reference.
Thank you.
It's where it's the part that's the most unrealistic part about these films. Of they take the part that where the real part of what it takes to become a strong individual takes years and time and dedication and patience. But in films, we don't give a shit about that as a viewer, so we just do a montage. And so it's your training montage.
There we go. See, why couldn't you have said montage? Why couldn't you have just said that, but you had to go with an arc like you're watching some anime, with your goddamn Chinese subtitles and your fucking it's just like, I don't know, man. Look, it's just okay, let's move on. I'm getting frustrated again. All right, it pisses me off that you have people backing you up on the Discord. I got nobody. Because we live in a society today where everybody watches anime. Everybody just loves anime, all right?
You know what you get? You get what you fucking deserve.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nick's wearing full-on Joker paint. Oh, you got this, man. You got this.
All right. So, okay, you may be asking yourself, why didn't this initial exorcism work permanently for Emma? Well, when you combine the mental anguish her abusive father caused her and the fact that her aunt, which was her father's sister, by the way, was a witch and would put curses on her and like cursed herbs in her food constantly, she really didn't stand much of a chance of a full recovery after the first exorcism.
It's kind of important that it's like, not only you got all this shit, but your aunt is actively trying to like cut you down.
Yeah.
Damn, that does not help anything.
Not at all. But we're now in 1928, and her father and aunt have passed away recently. But the demons within her from the abuse and the curses remain, and they get progressively worse. So, believing that seclusion and distance from her home would help with the exorcism, Father Theo told Emma to go to Erling, Iowa for an exorcism. There was a covenant there run by nuns in which the exorcism would take place and a place where she could stay for recovery afterwards. And when Emma arrived, she immediately became angry and full of violent thoughts toward the nuns. And knowing that the food and water they prepared for her had been blessed, she refused to eat or drink and waited in her room, making animalistic noises and awaiting Father Theo's arrival.
What if their animal noises were just like really like stupid ones, like they just make the little pug like just like that snorting. What the fuck's up with her?
Chickens, huh? So when Father Theo got to the covenant, the exorcism began almost immediately. He and the nuns put her upon an iron bed and tied her down so she couldn't fight back.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Father Theo began reading the initial rites, Emma fell unconscious, but soon awakened. And then at that point forward, all hell broke loose. Ear-piercing screams rang out from her, and she was able to break loose from her restraints. And she literally shot up in the air, slammed into the wall behind her bed, and just like laid on the wall like fucking Spider-Man, right?
Oh.
And had to be dragged down from the wall and shoved back into the bed. Like she was levitating and then just stuck to the wall behind her.
And Father Theo said, "Now look, bitch, I'm Rick James." Smack. Sorry, I had to. I have it in my mind of Rick James being just like the fuck. This priest went off to go train for like 19 years and comes back. It's just fucking Rick James origin story.
Yeah. So after they threw her back in the bed, Father Theo said, quote, "Silence, Satan! Keep quiet, you infamous reprobate!" Unquote. The horrible screams ceased after he said that. He basically told the demon to shut the fuck up. But that is when the voices began. Remember, we talked about the voice. Now we're in the voice part of the step of the exorcism. Now, these demonic voices answered Father Theo's questions in multiple languages, including Latin, German, and English. And when asked which demons were within her, many answered back, including Beelzebub, which I spelt wrong on the outline, Judas, and the spirits of her late father and aunt. And they all had the same goal of pure torment of poor Emma.
Evidently, you have to get the demon copy of the Rosetta Stone before you can properly possess a small girl, huh?
You have to be well read to be a good demon.
It's harder than it looks, you know. I know we're supposed to hate them, but gotta respect the effort.
They're multilingual. Come on.
Yeah,
I could barely
good for
speak
them.
English.
Same.
Now, the first session began in August of 1928, and 2 more sessions were performed on her through September and December. And with each session, more and more energy was drained from Emma, Father Theo, and the nuns who were helping with the exorcisms. It was an all-out spiritual war, man.
That's intense.
Throughout these months, Emma would constantly throw up inhuman amounts of acidic stomach bile, and she would also throw up a substance which contained tobacco chewing leaves, even though she was fed nothing but bread, milk, and water.
Gotta get that little bump, huh? That buzz.
Got to get that chew on, you know what I mean? Get that chaw on.
Oh, wow.
Her body would contort and twist in unnatural manners, and she would spew information in demonic voices about people at the exorcism. And this is information that she would have no way of knowing about. Like
Right.
personal details about people that she would fucking have. There's no way she would know this stuff.
Creepy.
And throughout all of this, the only person with the balls to endure it every day, all day for months was Father Theo himself, as the nuns had to do rotations of duty due to the sheer intensity of it all.
Fuck.
And just when all hope seemed lost, on December 15th, 1928, the demonic activity began to fade ever so slowly. So there was less vomiting, less voices, less body distortions, less everything. But then, on December 23rd, Emma leapt from her bed wide-eyed, and assuming it was another demonic activity spike, the nuns all sprang into action in order to prepare to just fucking like shove her down back into her bed.
Yeah.
So I just pictured a bunch of nuns just like rolling their sleeves up, ready to just beat the shit out of her again.
Yeah, dude. One of them's putting the brass knucks on. And it was like, fucking goddamn it.
Oh, it's got a baseball bat shaped like a crucifix, you know?
Here we go.
But as soon as she jumped up, Emma fell back down onto the bed, unconscious. Then moments later, she awoke, seemingly like herself, and said, quote, "From what a terrible burden I have been freed at last. My Jesus mercy, praised be Jesus Christ," unquote.
Oh,
So after damn near 4 constant months of exorcism sessions, it had finally worked, and Emma Schmidt was herself once more, never to be tormented by the demons again.
now 4 months is a long fucking time for anything. Like that's basically a semester of school. Except, so think about your previous semester that you just went through, or the one you're currently going through, and having no days off every single waking day. You're just violently vomiting bile and chewing tobacco, I guess, and just like being that priest and having to be on your feet and screaming your fucking mind off. It's like podcasting, but just a lot scarier.
Dude, that's why it's the most well known, because it's fucking intense and it's well documented and it's horrifying and it went on forever. But in the end, it worked. Something worked. And it was probably only due to Father Theo's sheer fucking will that she was helped out.
Mm-hmm. And now to make myself feel a little bit better about this, I mean, like I said, this is mostly just to make myself feel better. I this is going to be one of those rare times where I do think this may have happened. The only thing that's a little like sketchy is like if you're throwing up all that time, like you think it would just kill you eventually, but she was being fed. She was being like, so it's possible. There's a part of me that says, well, maybe she had some kind of disease or maybe she had, but it's just, like I said, this is a territory where it's like, I can't even really make a good argument against it because I do think shit like this does happen. Like, I do think this is a possibility. I do think it's not that I think like, like, okay, let me rephrase that. It's more of, it's hard for me to not believe in something beyond us and where we're at, just as much as there's a microbial world under us that maybe they might not understand what we are. It's just when we're talking about the concept of infinity, there's got to be a point somewhere in infinity where we reach something that's just greater than us. And that's why I don't like fucking with it. I don't like Ouija boards. I don't like the prospect of ever really inviting something like this into your life at all. And I'm a firm believer of if you're just kind of like going about yourself and like you just take relatively good care of yourself, you're probably going to be fine. Like, so if you're a kid out there, you're the 8-year-old listening to this episode, you're probably going to be fine. I think a lot of this shit is you kind of have to give it an opening. You have to invite it in. And there are situations in which we talked about, which it's like there are some mental health disorders. There are people who probably just had some crazy episode, but they got a shit ton of attention for it. So they start maybe self-induced vomiting. Maybe they start doing a bunch of like fucked up shit to themselves because when people get desperate and they love the attention, or maybe they do have a mental disorder and the attention's the only thing that keeps them going, that very much could be a possibility. But I'm not saying I don't believe in it. I'm just saying there are times where this could be medically explained, but not all the time. And you're not going to hear that from me very much.
And you guys heard it here. Tasker, the big old pussy skeptic, just said that he believes it. And you know what? A smile has never been more stretched upon my face, and my butthole has never been more malleable. I am excited to hear that. Thank you, Tasker. That's all I ever needed from you. And about this last story, guys, if it sounds familiar, that's because this was actually The Exorcist was actually loosely based on this specific case. That's how well known it is, and that's how fucking well documented it is. You know what I mean?
Did you ever? Because I obviously don't ever watch any exorcism movies except for The Exorcist, because not only, I mean, yeah, it's scary, but it's also a phenomenally made movie. Like the story's really good. It's incredibly well shot. The practical effects for the time were incredibly impressive. The acting was one like it swept like the Academy Awards. If you are a film buff and you have not seen it, you gotta watch it. It's scary, but it's not like I was able to watch it and like stay up because the effects are a little bit dated. But fantastic, phenomenal movie. But that's the only one I've seen. So I got to ask you then: have you ever seen like The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
I have. I've seen a lot of those exorcism movies. You know what? They're okay. They're definitely freaky. You know, of course, CGI these days is good and they can make things look good, but they're not my favorite subgenre of horror movies, so I don't seek them out. You know, I'm more of a slasher or like creature feature type of dude, but they're pretty good. They're worth a watch. I mean, if you guys looking to fucking freak yourselves out, and you are afraid of being possessed or afraid of possessions, definitely check out these movies. Especially The Exorcism of Emily Rose. That was a pretty good one for as far as the genre goes.
Okay. And so would you have to say that, or you think that The Exorcist is probably the best one though?
I mean, just as far as classic horror, like putting horror on the map kind of a movie that it's like it's a rite of passage. Yeah, I would say that's better. Story's obviously a lot better than the newer ones. But I mean, you know, if you want to get scared, watch a bunch of them. That's the best way to do it. But that's it, guys. Like we went through a lot today. We went through a lot of stuff on exorcisms today.
Yeah, we've been busy lately. This is our second 2-hour banger in a row. I mean, we might just barely be shy of 2 hours, but I don't know. I guess we'll see when the final cut comes out. But yeah, holy shit, this has been quite a journey. And if you feel like this wasn't scary enough for you, just go listen to like recorded tapes of like possessed people and hear them moan and groan, and that's a good way to ruin your day.
Yes. thank you for coming along on this. Look, you guys, we're not trying to scare you too bad. You know, we throw comedy in there to make it palatable, and also, you know, to build cases against us in the court of law, which is fine. But you know, we're not here to scare the shit out of you. We could try. It might come off a little cringy, so we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna be like, ooh, and then she flew up on the wall. Whoa! Like, we're not gonna
do a really loud, like, violin, like.
Yeah, exactly. We're not gonna do that shit. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully it spooked you a little bit. Tis the fucking season for that. And speaking of tis the season, I have an update about Count Chocula.
Oh yeah, because I do know you survived. Last time we thought they were going to try to bury you, right?
Yes. So here's the update. I have a couple updates. My internet line is now buried. It wasn't me, luckily, that was getting buried. Not yet.
Right.
But they might have bugged it still. I don't know. I wasn't here when they buried the line in the backyard. The issue is that my internet might be bugged. So all the research that I'm doing on Count Chocula is definitely being recorded. Okay. First off, but a little glimmer of hope in Nick's future is Kristen, our friend, told me that allegedly, her roommate saw a box of Count Chocula somewhere.
Okay. So if anything, they might be pulling back a little bit.
So it might not just be me seeing it, because you still haven't seen any, right?
Nope, not yet.
And nobody else that we talked to has seen him, but Kristen's roommate has. So I'm feeling a little bit more confident. I'm feeling a little bit more in it. So the last few weeks I've been kind of scared to actually do research. Mm-hmm. But now I'm kind of doing more. I'm feeling a little bit better about the whole thing, despite my internet being bugged by Count Chocula. Like, he already knows what I'm looking at anyway. It doesn't matter. I may as well just get the truth out now while I can.
Yeah, you could do like what they did in Full Metal Alchemist. You hide all the truth in cookbooks with a secret code.
That's a damn good idea. I might actually, but now I can't use that because they're going to listen to this.
Now we heard it yet. So fuck. All right, well, we got to be a little bit more clever. Plus, you know, that could be copyright infringement.
Fuck them. What are they going to do? Sue me?
Yeah.
All right, here's my $30. There you go. You won the settlement.
Oh boy.
But we will continue. To do research on Count Chocula for you guys. We need to get this episode out soon before, I mean, they're closing in. On me particularly, for some godforsaken reason. Tasker, how are you doing over there? Any signs, any new research coming up?
Honestly, no, nothing really like particularly spooky. Nothing really like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say because especially now that it's Halloween, there's a lot more chocolate on sale. And I mean, I've been avoiding buying it. Not only because of the processed sugar, but like, I don't want to, like we said with possessions, it's like, we don't want to invite something in that we don't necessarily have to. So that's the question of, is eating chocolate, or it may be a possible cocoa anything, is that inviting him in? Or is the way to stop him is to just buy a box of Cocoa Pebbles?
I don't know, man. Because like, look, his name's Count Chocula. All right. This dude is a vampire pedophile, Hitler-loving, chocolate made of piece of shit. All right. Yeah, I said it. And if he has a problem with that, he literally knows where I live. So he could come down at any time. But I'll tell you what, Count Chocula, I'm ready for you, dude. I'm fucking ready. I am holed up in my basement. It is like Waco in this bitch. I have guns everywhere. There's pregnant bitches, and I'm leading a cult against Count Chocula. All right. I'm not crazy. So
you're not crazy. You're safe.
I'm safe. Yeah. I might come off a little fringed, but I'm safe at least. All right. I'm ready. I'm ready to roll. So Tasker, you got to be ready to roll too. We're going to get this episode out soon. All right. But,
it'll be good.
Well, it'll be good. So I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. And speaking of cults, thank you to our community lately. It's been nice to be able to talk to all y'all. We've had a bit of a surge in activity in all of our Discord and our social medias, and it's been great. We love reaching out to you. We love talking to you. Like we said, we're building our cult now.
It's happening.
So get in now before you have to start paying to enter, because that's how cults work.
Yeah, get in now, and then you guys will be like our right-hand people, and then everybody after that, they have to start giving up their personal possessions and their virginities.
Exactly. And I'm gonna give an amendment is you don't have to pay to get in, but it's that whole thing. It's like we're gonna record, what are they called, tithes or tithings?
Tithing, yeah. Oh, yeah. We might just pass around a bucket. You guys can probably throw in I don't know, whatever you guys want.
Yeah, exactly.
You could throw in cash or memes or Count Chocula memorabilia.
Yeah. They're scattered among the world. If we collect all the pieces, we may banish him for life. So until then, though, if you are listening out there, community or not, doesn't matter. We love having you here. If you are on iTunes, please rate and review. Hit us with the 5-star. Help us get a little bit more publicity on iTunes. We are a little bit more higher in presence in Spotify. So if you're listening here, hit us with the follow. That would be super cool. New episodes every Wednesday, as per usual. Instagram is at CEOTPK. Our YouTube, Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind, if you prefer to watch that way, just as good. We're all up to date there. Twitter is at CEOTPK1. Facebook is Close Encounters of the Podcast Kind. You can send us an email at CEOTPK1@gmail.com. Discord is discord.gg/lowercase b, number 6, capital C, capital T, number 5, capital M, capital X. If that's too difficult to translate, you could just go to our Facebook page and we'll have the links all right there that you could just handy dandy click and get you right there. If you want to donate to us, we do have a coffee, ko/fi.com/CEOTPK. It's completely optional, just if you feel like it. We're happy to have you here. We can't wait to talk to you guys more.
We're excited. We love the community outreach. You guys are awesome. Also, speaking of community, next episode is the one coming out right before Halloween, and prepare yourselves. It's going to be our first episode of listener submitted stories. Haven't decided on a title yet. We'll have a dumb title ready to roll. So stay tuned for that one. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be spooky. It's going to be fucking creepy, and that's it.
Yeah. So if you have a story, honestly, easiest way would probably be through Discord because we tend to check that. Send us an email, send us a Facebook message, whatever you want. But you got a ghost story, possession story, that creepy neighbor in the house who maybe did something. Maybe you know somebody who's killed somebody, or maybe it was that weird kid from high school. Maybe a Bigfoot sighting. Who knows? Like, if you have it, let us know, and it will go on the air. Just make sure it's long enough for us to discuss it, more than 2 minutes.
And again, I will reiterate, we are probably going to make fun of certain parts of the story. That don't take it personally. It's just my innate assholeness, and also we have to make it funny. So yes, we're looking forward to it. We already got some submissions. We're hyped. We're ready to roll. And guys, look, whether you're mentally handicapped, and yes, I used the proper term this time, or whether there's a demon swimming around inside of you somewhere, just remember that the truth is out there.
The truth most certainly can be out there, but in which cases, sometimes it's just a medical anomaly. It's not. Feels good, man.
Feels good, man. Brother.